Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for having me here. My name is Benedict Gikundambai. I'm the CEO of Alesha Brands. At Alesha Brands, we deal with packaging. I'm the gentleman, my good friend. I deal with packaging. We pack sugar sachets, salt sachets, pepper sachets. I was very impressed with some of the things I had in the presentation, especially the story of the guy who was doing strawberries, because I have a similar story. I'll just take a minute to give a similar experience. When I started doing sachets, I did not get the machines first. I got the order first. So I went and secured an order with Gertrude's Children's Hospital. Then after I had secured the order, and I had an LPO to deliver, that's when we airlifted the machine. So we had to airlift a machine with Ethiopian Airlines, a machine which is over 500 kgs from China to Nairobi, and then we went ahead to supply the order. I concur with the findings that sometimes people put the cart before the horse. So some of the things here, they're very practical. I would just like to emphasize that two things of very importance which I had in this, in this, whatever we are doing here today. One of them is industry linkages. Whatever we do in classroom is not, you don't find it in the practical world out there. Then in the practical world, things are changing so fast. I was giving an example. Last year, VAT changed from 14% to 16%. And it changed in the middle of the year. So the auditor there will tell you how difficult it is to change your books, your ETR machines, your systems to change over to a new VAT system, and then January again you change back. Some of these things they want, we need continuous learning. For the continuous learning, personally from where I sit, I would recommend programs, short programs, very short, brief programs, maybe days programs, 3 days programs, a week's programs, which entrepreneurs can go and learn specific things. Social media marketing, entrepreneurs would love to go for a program, they would learn tax matters, etc. I am the one who has been quoted in this meeting again and again that I've been at Alesha for 8 years, and all the things we have achieved in 8 years, if I could go back and start over with the knowledge I have today, I would only need to do them I would achieve it in 2 to 3 years. So many things that I wish I learned, and some of these things I'm just reinventing the wheel. The people already in business. So I wish I had mentors who would hold my hand through the process. Personally, I also mentor people in my small capacity as a small and micro enterprise. I meet people, but one thing that I do when I meet people who come to me and ask me, Ben, you have achieved A, B, C, D. Where do we start? And people tell me, give me business ideas, and ask them, or you already started your business and you're running. What is your biggest challenge? If someone tells me the biggest challenge is funding, I tell them, then we are already in the wrong place. Funding should not be your biggest challenge. If funding is your biggest challenge, something is wrong in the back end. There is a lot of money flowing everywhere in form of grants, loans, etc. The biggest problem with people you find is someone has a business idea, he's running, he does not have a bank account. He does not have records. You don't even have M-Pesa records. Me personally, I even pay my boda guy with M-Pesa, because that's the only way I get to reconcile. I know that example was quoted there. When you get to the evening, you have to reconcile everything. You find an entrepreneur, you cannot cost your time. Even the opportunity cost. For me to be here, I am missing out something else somewhere. So there's a lot to learn, but I would love to put emphasis on a curriculum which is dynamic. You find a professor in whichever university is teaching entrepreneurship, but he himself does not have a business. There's a very big disjoint there. So it is okay, the professor can teach us the principles of management, Henry Fayol, etc., 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 and we quote all those balance sheets, etc. But it's also important for the professor to bring to the classroom those entrepreneurs who are already doing, and not just bringing the CEO of Safaricom one day in a semester. We need continuously to bring different people in business. So again, tutors with experience on the ground, and curriculum that is dynamic, and we need to keep refreshing. I had the good professor say, whatever you teach in class, the next day 70% is gone. So I graduated 10 years ago, everything must be gone by now. So thank you so much, and I hope you learned something from this session.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm really excited because I run a company called Passion Profit since 2009. And the reason I started that company to help people turn their passion into profit was because I'd come back from the US and people were coming to ask me for work. And 9 out of 10 of the people asking me for work had credentials. That means they had at least 1 degree, some had 2, some had 3, all right? Most of them had more degrees than I had, and they were looking for work. And I asked them, what kind of work do you want? And all of them said anything. So I got worried. And that's really how Passion Profit was started. That was in 2009. Fast forward to 2019, we still have many people coming out of university and no jobs. And then the people that are starting businesses, the statistic has remained at less than 70 or 80% making it to their 5th birthday for 2 reasons: access to capital and access to markets. And I'm like, this thing has to change in my lifetime or start changing before I die. And I'm not young, I'm 55, so time is not on my side really. So I realized that for this to change, or even to start to change before I leave this place, I need to involve youth. Everything I do has to have a youth lens. And that's when we started what we call the Young Global Workforce Agency. The Young Global Workforce Agency was started to help youth, young adults, to get a gig, to get guts, grace, so that they can gig in any geography. Because we find there was the influx of people coming into the cities, even though we had devolution and you can work in the counties, we have so much land, we have food insecurity, we have all this food that gets spoiled. So YGWA, as we called it, was started to fix that. And out of the research that I concur with the research, all the information that we had from the gentleman, I'm sorry I didn't catch his name, very good job to him, I think he's sitting over there. I concur with everything he has said, and what solutions do I recommend or propose from where I'm sitting? First of all, very good job for co-creating a solution and even doing this work together, because we have many people doing wonderful things in silos in this ecosystem of entrepreneurship. So I'm happy to see 3 institutions coming together to do this, and we can do more, but we must applaud them for starting. So the first thing I recommend is whatever programs we come up with, we must look at the mindset component of our programs. Mindset, because we have been conditioned to think if you don't have a degree, you are useless. If you have a degree and you don't have a job, you are useless. If you are a startup, hustler, somebody running your business, you are not good enough. So this mindset needs to shift, because we need to let people know that generating revenue is honorable. Whether it is employed, self-employed, or otherwise, it's better than stealing. All right. So for me, the first thing is how can we start shifting the mind from this situation that you must come from university and get a corner office job in Safaricom? Number 1. Number 2, we need more mentorship, more apprenticeship programs than mentorship. At YGWA, we have an apprenticeship program, and apprenticeship because people are coming from college, they are brilliant, they have the skills they need, and then we have the SMEs on the other side who have businesses but are not able to absorb these young adults. And they're not able to absorb these young adults because the young adults are not job ready, and the SME is not also well equipped to mentor somebody. So they want somebody who is job ready. The job ready person is not affordable for the SME. So YGWA, we created a platform where the young adult can volunteer in the association, in the agency, trading their time and talent for 90 days. We figure out what their skills are, their discipline, their culture, their competence, and we call it your culture, competence, and chemistry of working with people. And then after that, you get access to an SME. And you don't get an access to an SME to do a 30-day job. Because 30-day jobs are going away, my friends. Do you agree? Kweli ama uongo? So we train them to think gig instead of job. Because a gig, you can do bookkeeping for 3 or 5 entrepreneurs in a month. You can do HR for 5 entrepreneurs in a month. You can do social media for 10 people. As long as you know how to manage your time and talent, you can be a boss for yourself, but for many people, and you can also collaborate and work with more. So 1, mentorship, the mindset. 2, let's co-create apprenticeship programs with partnerships. Like Passion Profit provides education for the young adults, and then we work with SME Founders Association to connect the young adults with SMEs. Because we realize, at least I realize, there's nothing I can do alone. I'm running out of time. Who are the different stakeholders or players in the ecosystem that we can work with? So there's the mindset, the apprenticeship, and then the markets. We have the job market and the business market. So it's good. Let's not think only of the jobs, but also let's look at what are the businesses that need to be started, all right? How we have so many things coming from China. God bless China. But are there some of these things coming from China? How can we start making some of those things here to create jobs? How can we create policies that can manage trade so that we are not being colonized again? And if government is in the house, please, especially Ministry of Trade, I know I'll get into trouble, but I'm not looking for a political role. So the situation where we are getting so much debt and we are getting so many things from China, why? All right? And we have all these universities. Universities should start thinking, what is China bringing here that we can start creating so that we can go to China instead of having China here? I respect Chinese, I love all people, but this is Kenya. We need more made in Kenya. We have AFTA that has come up. How can we create more made in Kenya to go across, Africa so that we can alleviate the 30 million who are in poverty instead of still going to the West to get things? So those are my 3 things. I can talk forever. You see, this is something I'm very passionate about. Let's shift the mindset. Let's look at the job market and the business market to ensure that the skills we are giving people are relevant for our time. And the businesses that we are creating, we are not copying, but we are innovating. And then let's continue to mentor our people to gig in any geography. Nairobi, Ushago, all of Kenya is good. Thank you very much.
Hello. Hello.
Hi.
Thank you. I'm actually excited to be in this particular forum, more so because it's addressing the youth issues or the youth challenges. So let me start by saying my name is George Bogo from the State Department for Youth, and recently the State Department for Youth was restructured and they created 4 directorates from 1 they used to have before. So I'm in charge of Entrepreneurship and Skills Development. So I'm actually the Director, Entrepreneurship and Skills Development. My take is that this research is actually the best of its kind, as I'll explain later, after first telling you where I've come from, because you might start wondering, where is this gentleman coming from? So let me say, for the last 30 years, I've actually been dealing with the youth, because I started as a high school teacher, where I was teaching business studies and economics for quite some years. After that, I went to TVET institution, a technical institution, where again, I was there as a trainer for about 5 years. I used to develop up with an institution known as Kenya Institute of Management. As I moved on, when now the State Department was started, or the Ministry of Youth was started in 2007, I joined that particular ministry, where I've always been, until 2 months ago when I was called to the headquarters to be now in charge of entrepreneurship and skills development. So I've really interacted with the youth in various places. At the same time, I've also been a business person. I've been in entrepreneurship. And the many businesses have started, unfortunately, at one time or another, they have flopped. They have failed. But one is still moving on and doing quite well. So that's an encouragement to young people. When you start a business and it fails, That's not the end of it. It's actually there so that you gain some knowledge, some experience, so that you move on and move on well. Let me say start as a state department for youth. Generally, we are guided by the National Youth Development Policy 2019. So last year, that policy was launched by His Excellency the President, and it's important, if you have never seen it, just Google, you will see it, so that you read it and see what Youth Enterprise Development Fund and the various partners, most universities, is well captured in that particular policy. So a lot of collaborations, a lot of partnerships is needed if we are really to say we are handling the youth challenges. And again, I'm happy in this particular forum because we cannot talk of handling the youth issues without involving them. So through this research, through a forum like this one, then we are involving them so that we get what they need. In 1960s, 70s, in our country, the issue was, enda shule, soma na bidii sana. There are even very many songs which were being sung that time, indicating that once you go to a school, you read very hard, you pass so that you go to secondary, you pass very well so that you go to university or to a college, then you are done. Because the job will be waiting for you. And actually, it's not unusual to hear those people who are about 60, 58 plus years old saying, Mimi, when I did the interview after college, after university, actually, I had 4 choices where I would have landed. But I had to choose one of the 4 because I was called to all these places. And as we would say, it's a DC Land Rover, which actually made a whole trip to my village. And they were asking, where is this gentleman? We have heard he's having ABCD. And they would give him or her a job instantly. So, those were those days. Now things have changed in our country and across the globe. It is true our population is increasing, but we need to look at it in terms of advantages and not disadvantages. Because for me, I believe they are actually enough for all of us. So when the trend now changed, we forgot that we need to change the strategies. And that's one, just a few years ago, although now the trend has somehow started changing, it's like all the parents now wanted their children to make sure that they go to the university. That's actually been the trend in our country. So I do agree with this particular research, what so far they have found out. Because actually it's generally what you find out there. Mainly, the main issue is the mismatch of the training. One of the presenters has said that these days is not unusual to have a situation where a person has done a degree, but he has decided to go to a TVET or a certain college to do our certificate or a technical institution. Actually, it's very common in institutions. About 2 weeks ago, we were with the management of CoPYEK National Polytechnic. They are saying they have so many students from our universities who have degrees, but they shy away from telling the other students, they don't mean to have a degree. So the other students believe this is a student like us. But this person already has a degree in a certain aspect. But he has realized he has been at home for 3 years, 4 years, looking for a job, probably even a job he doesn't know. Because sometimes you ask them, what job are you looking for? The person says, any type of a job. Now, any. See, there is no description. You can say that it is any. So it is also showing a situation where this person is, in one way or the other, frustrated. So the issue of actually our education having failed to some extent, I do agree very much with that one, in terms of matching the skills with what the market requires. It has been said here that you can have a person who has done, or there are people who have done entrepreneurship even up to the degree level, or others diploma level. But the person has been at home for more than 3 years, still saying he's looking for a job. Then you wonder, was this training really the right thing in this particular college, in this particular university? So what lacked in the training of this particular person? And I think the issue here is there was no link between what this person was running and the reality out there. This person can prepare a very good business plan, but actualization is zero. I think that's what we are saying. Because you find this person being employed by another person who has a shop somewhere, this person did not even go to the secondary school, or probably dropped at class 8, but is now the one who is employing this other fella, a professional in entrepreneurship. So you realize there must be something which is not working. So we need, just as the proposal is being said here by the research, to make sure that in our trainings, we incorporate what actually needs to be there by ensuring that there is the matching of what is needed out there and what is being run there. Somebody has also rightly here said, our tutors, our lecturers, also need to have the practical bit of it. I remember in 2007, in the Ministry of Youth, there was a program, Entrepreneurship, short term, which was being undertaken through the assistance of UNDP, and all the trainers, the UNDP had to insist, ni lazima uanze biashara. So as you teach, you will also be giving an example of yours. And you are given 3 weeks. Week start. While they work in any form of a business, they start. Otherwise, after 3 weeks, if no business, still no job. And those guys started to struggle. Others started to start. The issue was not how big your business will be, but at least you start something so that you'll be saying, you have also done this, you are failing, or you are doing well, what you feel needs to be done is this. Because as somebody has said, when we always say or tell the young people, where answer biashara, wanashindwa ni gani? This person has 100,000 shillings, but another one has 100 shillings, another one 500 shillings. So this person needs also to know what type of a business he may require. And that's why I agree with the findings here. We need to more so think of starting small and we grow. That way we move up. But the moment we think of 100,000 shillings, which is initially being given by Uwezo Fund for young people, women, and persons with disabilities to start a business, and now some start saying, hii 100,000 shillings sasa hii inaweza nunua nini? See, ni kiti moja tu ya sofa set. You see, look at now the level of that youth. He's talking of 100,000 shillings, ni pesa ya kununua kiti ya kukalia. So that mindset that there is nothing much you may do with the 50,000 shillings, 100,000 shillings, 20,000 shillings. Stories are given by some people who have a lot of money these days and they are running big businesses of how they started their shop. Another day I was now with a guy who is having many shops in Embu, Magunan. If he tells you where he started, you are likely to doubt it. Those many years are now where he is. But he's now doing very well. Start small and grow big. Then the aspect of mentors. I've also liked that. The role models in businesses is really needed. That's why we have been saying that the Asians are really doing very well in terms of business, although now we know many Kenyans have also started competing with them quite well. But the aspect is, this child of this Indian will start knowing the issue of the business and where even the father or the mother buys the merchandise from, and even how much profit they make from as early as when this fella is 4, 5, 6, 7 years old. Different from our, in most cases, our setup. When you have a business, you don't want even your wife, leave alone your child, to know where you get the surprise from. So the moment you die, definitely that business will also have to die. But if you train this young person from the start on the importance of entrepreneurship, importance of being in business, importance of being self-employed, more than always looking for somebody to employ you, this person will grow that way. So as we talk of the institutions which are training, I'm also challenging the parents. Because one of the reasons the young people are giving as to why they are not able to do well in agribusiness or in agriculture is the way they were brought up. The parents were always complaining. Najua hii kahawa tunalima tu because hatuna otherwise. Hata hawatulipi. Sasa unaona tumegrow these cabbages. No market. And they are also seeing what is happening. So how do you now later on tell this particular person to concentrate on coffee farming? It's a bit challenging. So let's start early, wherever we are, so that as these young people grow up, or the children grow up, they'll be knowing the value and the importance of businesses. So I also wanted to mention the other aspect here of this particular research. For me, I found it being very relevant because actually it's shifting from the old way of looking at entrepreneurship, where we have been starting with the terms like an entrepreneur is that person who starts a business. Sijui is an entrepreneur who looks for capital, etc. But now we are emphasizing on the aspect of innovativeness, way of handling the problems people are facing. So the aspects of now the many challenges we are seeing, the problems we are talking about, then this is a time as a real person we can call entrepreneurship is supposed to think of how to solve those challenges so that now he makes money. Because the issue is at the end of it all, you making money. So I've liked that aspect of ensuring that it is very practical and it's actually talking of from the side of the problems, how they can be solved, the innovations, and generally changing the world and noting the threat in the world. So as a State Department for Youth, our main task is one, ensuring that the youths are empowered. They are empowered so that they can fit in the society. They are empowered so that they can really fulfill their full potential. So in relation to that one, I want also to add another point here. Because I started by saying, 2 of my businesses robbed. And the main reason was, the young people I unemployed were Iba. Honesty. So that's where I am now. I believe there are so many people in our country who could start businesses here. They may be youth, yes, others may not even be youth. But there are people with a mind of money somewhere. But the challenge sometimes they have, sasa nitaanza biashara gani? Na nikianza hii ya matatu itaibiwa tu. Na nikianza hii ingine maneno haitakuza. Na maneno haitakuwa mzuri. So I'm emphasizing on that issue of, as we teach our children again to the parent from the start, let them be honest. So they will not grow thinking that you can't have money unless you are a thief. See that's sometimes the concept we have. So let's think of it as possible. And many people who are making money, they are making them genuinely. We could be having situations where there is corruption, could be having some people who may have stolen, but the majority, I believe, they have their money genuinely. Otherwise, with those few remarks, shall keep on interacting. Thank you.
Good morning, all of you. Yeah, my name is Kenneth Wanjao. I've been with the youth, teaching them entrepreneurship, irrespective of their background, for the last 17 years, actively. I do work in Karatina University, a professor of entrepreneurship and business development, and I teach across the board. That means all disciplines, including the students who are pursuing education, who still wonder why they have to be taught how to start a business. And it has been a challenge because along the way, the first 2 lectures, they are all in. Then along the way, you find the numbers dropping. Suddenly, the number would increase if you announce there is a cut. And then again, you'll have the same number when they're sitting for the exam. Dr. Mishiri will allow me, it's not like I'm blowing the trumpet about our university, but this research is very similar with what I have seen quite a number of my students carry out a research on entrepreneurship education and also youth entrepreneurship, relating it with circles, products, and they have given us similar kind of information. So you're actually reaffirming that there is need to change the approach. And what we have done in our university, Karatina University, we have 4 lecturers in entrepreneurship. We have been able to engage the management and say that we need to approach the way we teach entrepreneurship. And in that process, one department that was very critical that we really pushed for its creation is the University Industry Linkage Directorate. And I'm actually in charge of that. And I've used that directorate to bring in a different approach in the way we teach entrepreneurship in our university. I've been able to link the university, let me say, the students with all kinds of entrepreneurs. I do teach about women entrepreneurship. Allow me to go step by step. Women entrepreneurship. And the young ladies, just as you said about them being told that, you know, you need to work with this particular male person for you to survive, they would tell us that. But I realized that that is a perception we have to move away from. So I was lucky to identify a woman entrepreneur who I was able to agree, just come to my class and just tell your story. So one of the approaches, in other words, that we have used to solve the issues that you have identified here is storytelling. It is through this session that they have actually realized that it can actually happen even with minimal resources. She started in her dining table, this business that she's doing currently. And she was employed. She was a professional. But she had the entrepreneurship urge. And when it hit her so hard, she now actually decided, let me go through, let me just accept that this is the way to go. So with the minimal resources that she had, financial, one thing that she realized is for me to be successful in this particular journey, I need a mentor and a role model. So we have also identified her as one of the role models, and I brought her to my class. And she's been able to convince the young ladies that we don't need to take that journey that the researchers were told by the respondents. Then also, and she has shared actually her challenges of being a woman entrepreneur. And through those challenges, she's been able to convince quite a number of the young ladies graduating, and even what now we have done, the university has given us a chance to invite even alumni to be part and parcel of such sessions. So storytelling is one way that we have used in entrepreneurship education to demystify, that it is not all about the theories and theories. We are actually linking the theory to the practical aspect. You mentioned about marketing being one of the challenges, and we've been able to link up with one of the universities, actually Babson College, and they have been able to come and train the lecturers, because we have also challenged our lecturers to be entrepreneurial. We've told them now start thinking of also starting your own businesses instead of always going out there with placards. And we've even told them they can invite us for sessions where we'll teach them to develop business plans and encourage them to identify business opportunities. So we are working with this particular university, and we have changed the way we teach marketing management to our students. We are now using what we are calling experiential marketing management approach, where we are able to invite practitioners, marketers, and they are able to tell their story again. What needs to be done about marketing your business? Be it small, let me start by being micro, be it small or medium-sized. And they have taken our students through that, and not only our students, all of us. And that has changed the approach on how marketing should actually be done. So we have marketing innovation. Then technology entrepreneurship. How have you also done it? We have again brought in young techno entrepreneurs. You have read and you have listened to the story of Anthony Modongo. Do you all know Anthony Modongo? Anthony Modongo is a young Kenyan who is making the USB cables from, yeah? Yeah, the cables that you have been throwing away. He's been able to pursue what we call incremental innovation. Anthony Modongo is an alumni of Karatina University. He's a trained teacher, physics, math. Yeah? And what basically Anthony, how we came to discover Anthony is we introduced innovation competitions in our university. And that is how we came to notice Anthony Modongo. And then we allowed him to be attending lectures in BSc Entrepreneurship. He would choose which one he would like to attend. And he was very strategic. He would choose any lecture. If the unit name is innovation, he was there. And you sit there, and we'll always introduce him as a guest student. And that is how he was able to accumulate that knowledge and realize that you can pursue incremental innovation and do away with what my fellow panelist was talking about, China. Yeah, that we are using him, and we won't stop using him to come and tell his story of how we are so blessed with the resources, yeah, and we can actually be champions of brand Kenya, where we have been challenged that not all of us can be entrepreneurs, because they tell us that through the linkages, we've been able to identify companies in Kenya that allow young people to be interns and become what we are calling intrapreneurs. So you'll find that some of the companies that are registered with Kenya Association of Manufacturers or KNCCI, they have now started coming up with internship programs that allow the young mind. Irrespective, we have also been lucky enough, by the way, we have employers now who are looking at things from a different perspective. It's not about the diploma, it's not about the degree. It's what are you bringing on board? We have them, by the way. Yeah? And recently, during the celebration of Africa Industrialization Day, I was able to bring one to our university who talked about her story, and the conclusion was, you don't have to have that degree to be successful as I am. My highest level of education was only Form 4. And she's actually made it. How has she made it? Again, just as my panelists have mentioned, she identified mentors and role models. And she was also able to, there are consulting firms that do run mentorship courses in Kenya, yeah, and they have been able, she was able to be one of those students in that kind of a program. She has mentors, she has a role model, and she has walked the journey with that particular role model. Then talked about Ushago, and our university is rural-based, and one thing that we have pushed is agropreneurship. We pushed agropreneurship because through agropreneurship, we will be able to lead to rural entrepreneurship, where we'll have mini industries in the rural setup. And that is how the cottage industry started in India and China. And we have also been lucky to get Chinese universities that are actually pushing this agenda, coming to talk, not to teach us, talk about it, tell their story, how we have seen some of those Chinese companies be who they are. They all started as cottage industries. So by also inviting agropreneurs, yeah, we've been able to sell that idea that you can actually start with that poultry farm, yeah, and add value. Entrepreneurship is about value addition. So value addition has been key in making sure that that transition of just being a basic poultry farmer to an agropreneur is sinking well. And actually even telling them that very soon, when we tell them about having their own factories, they would ask how. And we'll tell them that very soon, because you're all complaining about the cost of animal feeds because of the sudden change of the tax regime in the country, you'll start making your own feed. Your own feed. And that is how the rural entrepreneurship aspect comes in. Yeah? You'll start with the fish farming, and very soon you'll start making your fish meal. So you start your own small industry. You start as a beekeeper, and very soon you'll start processing your honey and branding it. How does it get to the market? Short courses, and this is where the universities have been told, come to that level where you can offer, just the way you're saying, this is not the consultants here, you cannot charge leg and an arm for some of these courses. Yeah? Come down with rates that are actually demonstrating that you are so much conversant with the kind of entrepreneur you're dealing with. We, being a government institute, of course, we are not allowed to criticize the national government. We are just supposed to work with them closely. So for us, what we have realized is for agropreneurship and rural entrepreneurship to actually succeed, and even the women, youth entrepreneurship, we regular consultation with the county government. That has actually been taking place. And not only in Nyeri County, it's across the board. They tell us about their challenges, but the beauty is they have given you the platform to express what the youth entrepreneur is actually lacking. And yes, the aspect of licenses has been mentioned. Review those number of licenses. If you want to talk of being an entrepreneurial county, if you are able to review those licenses, then you'll find quite a number of the youth engaging in entrepreneurship. Then finally, I would like to concur with what my panelist here has talked about TVET. We have actually recognized the importance, not now, for quite some time, and started working closely with TVET. One thing that we have also told our graduates is if you want to start a business and succeed, please acquire the right expertise. Yeah? And TVET are good institutions in providing this particular TVET. So we are linking them. One of our agriculture economics graduate, a lady, actually they used to call her plumber. So I used to wonder, kwa nini unaitwa plumber? So because I know how to make those things, I'm very hands-on. And I told her, why don't you think of registering a business? And she's done that and gone actually to TVET to do the first grade 1. their Mathera Technical Institute of Plumbing. Yeah? And I've actually used her to come to class and tell the others that you have to decide how you'll chart your way into entrepreneurship. There is no, you won't lose your pride if you decide to acquire an extra expertise in an institute that is not associated with degree. Yeah? So those are the things that we've done, and those have become our way out in actually encouraging youth entrepreneurship. Ours is youth entrepreneurship and women entrepreneurship. And so far, yes, we haven't achieved a lot, but at least there is a change of the mindset. And that is very, very key. Record keeping is a challenge across. Yeah? And we need to actually introduce them to actually institutions that can educate them on record keeping. Then finally, CoPYEK, which is family-owned business. The Asian community is known to do this very well. So the aspect of attachment, we haven't taken it for granted. We take it very seriously, and we have made sure that we guide them on the right places to pursue attachment, and even internship, linking with businesses that have a robust internship program, instead of actually feeling underemployed, where we have the mismatch of skills. So thank you very much.